Okay, so today we're going to be watching every opening to the Ultraman series. This is not a series that I have any real familiarity with. I maybe saw an episode here or there. I can kind of remember in the, I think, early 2000s, they were playing some version of this on like the Fox box or something like that. I was really not watching the Fox box very much at that time, so I maybe saw an episode there. And I know there are maybe some co-productions, so maybe some series aired in America prior to that, but I definitely didn't see them. So all I know is that there's like a giant man. I know what like the character looks like, but that's really all I know about this. Obviously, it's a tokusatsu type show. I know that as well. So yeah, I'm going in almost completely blind here. In order to see if the playlist I was going to be watching like actually had everything in it, I did have to do a little bit of research, which I hate doing that. But when I just kind of watch these playlists blind in the past, sometimes people complain that the videos are wrong or that it's missing something. I can't say whether or not these are the correct videos, obviously, because I haven't watched any of these before. But I just looked over the list of series on the wiki to see if they match to the list of series in the playlist. And there definitely were some things missing. So I think there's an anime series, which it's not in this video. Um, then the Ultraman Q. I'm gonna have to watch that from a different video to start with, so that's how we'll start that. And there are like some movies and some other things that aren't going to be in this, but for the most part, everything in the main series I believe is in this video, as far as I could tell. And I didn't want to look into it too much because obviously I want to go in as blind as possible. I really don't know anything about the series, and I think it's interesting to keep it that way. So if I mess up, whatever. I tried to do as much due diligence as I could. In the future, when you're recommending me things, if you want to, leave a recommendation in the comments. I'll try and get to it when I can. If you're doing that, just try and link me to something you think is worthwhile, I guess. And yeah, I can try and use that and have you guys crowdsource some high quality things. That would be useful for me. But anyway, no one likes when I'm talking too much here, so let me go ahead and get to this now. Okay, so this is very bare bones. This is Ultra Q, yeah. This is 1966. It's crazy um, how shaky the footage is. It's really just kind of like shadow puppets. There's almost nothing here. Okay. So you can see various monsters, and you hear like this kind of, I don't know, like alien whistle at the beginning. It's not there anymore in the music, but it was towards the beginning. So you can kind of see that they're like aliens, alien monsters from like different worlds or whatever. That's really all you can get from this. So far, you don't even know what the hero looks like or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting choice. Because for the openings from the 60s that I've seen for the previous reactions, they always started with like this kind of old-timey national anthem theme song. And this is very like James Bondy mixed with like alien themed James Bond type music, which is so different than the other things, which were kind of like these declarations of pride in the heroes that were going to be appearing in the show you're about to watch, and even like a short little explanation about what the show's about. So maybe we'll see that in the next one. But it's interesting that this just has nothing, no information whatsoever. I do think this is the only one that's in black and white, so maybe there were just some like technical limitations. Even watching the film, the video here, it seems like the frame rate was very low. Certainly in like American television, they could like, I don't know, show things that weren't slideshows in 1966, but I don't know, maybe Japan was having a hard time with that at the time. So anyway, I have no idea what the reasoning behind that looking like that was. Maybe it was just purely a stylistic decision, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. So let's see what things are like moving forward. So this is like very similar to the one we just saw in terms of like the opening pattern where it's doing like this spinning uh, paint colors and then the Ultra Q review. Okay, that's nice. This time it's in color. That's actually really cool. When you see it in color with like a higher frame rate, it's actually a very cool effect. For is this? It's just like a little bit higher quality of Ultra Q. So I guess maybe for the second half, just I guess maybe the second half of Ultra Q, they were playing this in color this time. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. The shapes are the same, but the music is different. But this time you do have like the more nationalistic music that you kind of come to expect, like I was talking about earlier. Um, so it's a little bit weird. Yeah, maybe that was the second opening to Ultra Q. I'm not exactly sure. So again, we're starting off with this like spinning colors effect, which is really cool, and it has like the slow reveal of the title this time. I mean, I guess it has it every time, but it's neat. So this is the first hmm 7? Ultra 7? I think I saw a title like that in the list. Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess they keep this like slideshow thing up for a long time, or at least the first few. It's like looks like molten lava in the background. You see a little bit more of the hero each time. The first Ultra Q one didn't have the hero at all, I don't think, unless I just happened to miss it. And then in the second Ultra Q one, the hero like appeared. He was like in a flying pose for just like half a second. And then here they hold on him for like a decent amount of time. So that's an interesting development. And then I was correct. Like the more I call it nationalistic sounding. I don't know much about music. That's just like what I associate that type of music with. Where they're just like chanting the hero's name. Like 7 7. That kind of song has made its appearance, and I suspect we'll be dealing with that kind of music for probably the next like 5 or 6 of these things. It's so interesting because it's only like been 3 years, but like the quality of picture you get from these has just increased so much more. Just wildly. This is like legit quite pretty. These lights look kind of impressive. I like the effect they have going on in the background there. We see our hero very early in this one. Okay, love to see it. They're still keeping with these I don't know what to call it, like shadow puppet imagery, silhouette images of various pieces of technology and monsters. Um, so really, I guess these are all going to be very similar. It looks like there's like a whole team of them this time. As far as I know, there's only one Ultraman, but But yeah, I like that background, that those rotating, kind of like halation effect, rotating halation of colors, in the back. That looks really pretty. Prettier than the other three, for sure. Are those Ultramen, or is that just like an outline of like a weird military uniform that the people in the show are wearing? Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, the color in that looked really nice. Oh, subtitle for this one. That one looks very similar to Godzilla. He's from the Galactic Federation. Oh, is he like an intergalactic policeman? Is that what this is about? Because I know that character from New Dragon Ball, Jacko, the Galactic Policeman that Akira Toriyama was doing. He looks kind of like Ultraman, and he's like a galactic policeman. So I guess that's more of a reference than I thought. Yeah, but these are some very classic looking kaiju designs. I'll say, for every transition to a new one we've had up until this point, we're still very early on, but up until this point, there's been like quite a large aesthetic leap. So that first one was obviously like very, very minimal. And these openings all so far have been very minimal because they're just doing like the silhouettes on top of like some type of background color, right? So it's not like visually stunning or anything, but the second one looks much better than the first one. The third one looked much better than the second one. And I think this one actually just looked a little bit worse than the previous one. Again, not that any of them looked amazing, but it's just interesting to note that there was like a little bit of a regress in my opinion. Though I do like the silhouette designs, maybe a little bit better here. I think those monsters look quite cool. As far as monsters go, I'm not a big monster guy in general, so. Ultraman Taro. Are these all brothers? I didn't realize that. Okay. Oh, we have an actual opening this time, but with like miniatures. Okay. These miniatures are like not convincing at all. They don't even like look that good, but it's like 1970 for this one, something like that. It reminds me of those shows like this, made completely out of little miniatures and like puppets. These used to be pretty popular, I think, in like the 60s or 70s. There's like a really popular one in America that I can't remember the name of, but I remember seeing a little bit of that when I was a kid. But I think it was called like Thunderbirds or something. Let me know in the comments if you remember. But yeah, I know the miniatures here are just being used to like in place of like having giant set pieces, you know. And I'm sure like the actual show they have like real actors, but in the shows I'm thinking of, they're like little puppets. Team America, I think, by the South Park people. That's a really old movie at this point, which is crazy. That thing's like 15 years old, but that's a movie that has the aesthetic I'm thinking of, and it's very similar to the thing you see in this opening. Devoid of seeing the man in the suit. Yeah, that's just what this looks like by itself. Pretty interesting that we have not seen any actual human beings in any of these openings so far. Completely devoid of a depiction of any type of actor whatsoever, except for maybe the silhouette of an actor in a costume. But that's about as good as you're gonna get. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I assume these miniatures get better. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how things develop. We see a person. Well, it's like an image of a person being dragged closer to the screen, but like, yeah, we see a character that's not a silhouette. These miniatures already look better. Some Chinese subtitles at the bottom there. Not useful for me, but that's cool. Honda as the sponsor, love to see it. This is actually not a bad song. That ship reminds me of the what's it called? The little auxiliary ship to the Bebop on Cowboy Bebop. That Spike, the one Spike uses. The weapon effect on that actually did not look bad. This is actually, as far as these things go, that was pretty cool. The building crashing due to the water. They had the little sparks coming out of the jet too. That looked nice. Okay, well, no, we saw we saw finally two actors looking at each other in front of that sunset. That was the first time we're seeing like moving human beings in these openings. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, there's a real like huge leap forward, I think, in the quality of those miniatures, and I think there's only 1 year in between these seasons, so it's kind of cool to see like how quickly they improve sometimes. Because the effect work was like uh it was like pretty good. Like the motion looked like, pretty believable. If not like excellent, but they'll get there. So I thought there were not going to be any the anime shows, the cartoons weren't going to be in this playlist, but it seems like they are. So okay, let's get it. Or for all I know, this is like not the opening to an anime. This may just be an animated opening to a live action show. I can't say, but dog, that looks cool. That's the first clear look at Ultraman we get. Well, the second one. Oh, that confirms my question from earlier. Those were the silhouettes of humans, I guess. That shit looks awesome. The animation on that was actually pretty darn good. The animation on this is surprisingly good. Um, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This was like a wildly popular show. And they only had to animate things for like 90 seconds. But if you have seen like these things before, so much of the time they'll like really cheap out on the animation for like these kids opening shows from like this time period. So, it's just good to see them putting in some effort. It's not like they had to like do that much stuff there anyway. But I guess I'll also note earlier on when they were just having the silhouettes in the opening, I thought that some of the human or humanoid characters in like his police force, the Ultra police force, I don't know what the story behind this is. I thought they were possibly Ultramen because their helmets kind of look like that. And if you're just looking at the silhouette, obviously there's no real way to tell. But now that I see them in the cartoon, it's very clear. Uh, they're actually just humans. So I guess I'll correct past me in that way. I will say some of the openings have made reference to like the Ultra Brothers. So I don't know if like a new brother is a main character for each series, but that's a possibility, I guess. Unclear to me. 80. Okay. So we're in 1980. Okay, and they're going back to the silhouette. He came to us from the stars. Love it. Oh, yo, look at that. This is such a extremely 70s song. It's kind of a shame that it came at like 1980. If they had just done this 1 year earlier, it would have been so fitting. This is so cheesy. To me, it doesn't feel like it fits the show, but like I've never seen the show, so what do I know? 80. The stars. That may be my favorite song. I mean, so far it's definitely my favorite song, but I mean, it may just be my favorite moving forward. He came to us from the stars is gonna be pretty hard to beat. I will say I'm not a fan of going back to the silhouette style. I don't know. I'm just like not a huge fan of that. It's fine. I'm not like mad at it, but it's like not very visually resplendent. It's just nothing for me to comment on, but it's fine. This was a co-production with Australia. It's an Australian co-production. Okay, that's just straight up a Godzilla character. Am I wrong? Now, obviously, those effects don't look great either, but hmm. I'm not a big fan of these monster designs. I mean, I kind of just don't like monster designs in general, but it's not a bad costume. Not a bad Ultraman costume. But I don't. I'll also say this video isn't the highest quality, so it's not like I can see things super clearly. But part of the reason I can't see things clearly is because of the like color filter they're putting on top of this to give it like a weird, um, like I don't know, almost cel shaded like look. Hmm. The mouth on Ultraman looks pretty silly, I think. Maybe that's the first time I've seen it clearly. Yeah, it's very interesting that that's an Australian co-production though. The song there was like very underwhelming. But I'd be interested to see. I think there's some American co-productions coming up. I'd be interested to see how those differ from the Australian product. I wonder, I guess Ultraman was just very popular in Australia. It definitely never really took off in America to my knowledge. Maybe it did, but I was not familiar with it as a kid. So I don't know. Maybe it just really was very popular in other parts of the world and Australia in particular. Okay, so we're going back to like the color rotation that we saw in earlier ones, but this time it's like super fast. Wasted no time this time. Um, Doing like much more detailed silhouettes this time, to the point that they're not really even silhouettes, they're just kind of black sketches, really. I'm seeing a lot of English like names, so I guess this is still, I don't know, an Australian co production or something like that. Kane Kosugi Kenichi Kai. Somehow you can tell that this music was still written by a Japanese person. This music is still Japanese. There are no lyrics. All the credits have English staff listed. I didn't see the credits for the music yet, or maybe I just missed it. But I have like very high confidence that this music was written by a Japanese person. I don't know why I can tell that, but it definitely feels distinctively Japanese. Um, I don't know why you can tell that. And at a university I went to, there's like a piano in this like random place, but sometimes people would play it. And when someone was playing Japanese music, you could always tell. I don't know enough about music to be able to explain what it is about certain types of Japanese music, especially just like generic pop music that really stand out and make it that distinctive. But there's definitely something about it that I don't know. It's like not even present in K-pop or C-pop either. It's like really something unique to the way Japanese composers operate. If anyone can explain that to me, I'd actually find that fascinating. Like legitimately, write like a dissertation in the comments. I would love it. I love LEDs in the eyes. I've mentioned this before in the previous Kamen Rider and Super Sentai reactions. LEDs in the eyes. Love to see that. These miniatures have really like stepped up after not being present for a little while. We're back. We're out of the co-productions. Is that like an actual uh military ship? That's an aircraft carrier, right? Did they get permission to use the Japanese aircraft carriers? That's kind of fire. These miniatures, these are solid. You can even see like the reflection, like the shininess of them. Dog, they have some Eurobeat. Why is this theme song Eurobeat? Am I watching Initial D? Take me higher. That one was fun. Eurobeat is always kind of inherently cheesy, but I like Eurobeat. Or if that wasn't Eurobeat, it sounded very similar to it. And again, the miniatures look nicer, so I don't know. Nothing mind blowing so far, but they've all been, interesting in their own right. I'm still unsure about the premise of Ultraman. When I say I don't know what this is about, like I really mean that. I don't think Ultraman is a man who transforms, but he could be. Is he? I was always kind of under the impression that Ultraman was just a giant humanoid who was just around and would come out to fight monsters, kind of like Godzilla does when he's working with humans. Or at least in that like old American Godzilla cartoon, they would just call Godzilla and he would come out and fight. But he was just chilling in some giant cave most of the time. That's always how I thought of Ultraman. But I'm probably very wrong about that. Ultraman D. Look at that. It's probably the first prominently featured actor we've seen. He's like very traditionally handsome, I feel. I like that mask. I guess all the masks look very similar, but I like how they keep that, I don't know what you would call it, aesthetic motif. It's pretty cool. Guts. I'll be getting features on all the actors this time. Okay. That's a really nice miniature. And the way it just kind of opened up like that. Kanarazu. Okay. Both in terms of direction and in terms of music and in terms of composition. These last two have definitely been the most anime of these so far. But it's cool that they, in this last one, were still, even though it's like the most anime so far, they were still able to work into just silhouettes on top of the colored background. In fact, you can still see it on the screen right now. They still just have Ultraman, his little silhouette there on top of that blue, weird colored background. So yeah, I guess I don't know if they're gonna keep trying to work that into every single one. Obviously, they haven't had it in every one so far, but you gotta pay homage to the originals when you can, I guess. I'm assuming we're just gonna get more anime as we get more modern. But yeah. Okay, again, we do the colors. That time it actually was like lava of the sun. Is that a thing? Lava of the sun. Two Ultramen this time. Those clouds is like literally just cotton, right? I mean, I don't know how they would have made that look better, but I wish they had tried. The cast, alright. Looks pretty cool. The way they have those things moving. Now the CG they're using here, actually for the year this is, that looks good, but not in an absolute sense. It doesn't look good, but it looks good for the year. Alright, that one was okay. There's that scene, I think it's like the second or third to last scene, where they have like the two characters and they like cross paths and then their backs are facing one another. And there's like one that's taller and he's wearing all black, and then there's one that's wearing like a kind of colorful military outfit. I assume he's like the main humanoid character. And then the taller all black one is like he's the edgy one. He's the Sasuke of the series. That's my headcanon for this. Ultraman Neos. Oh, wow. These effects. It's not a bad set. Ultraman, Ultraman, Ultraman. Hmm. Huh. So that one was interesting in that it seemed to be telling a story. Let me go back and rewatch the end there. I was a little bit distracted, but obviously there are like some people working on a space satellite. Then they're hit by these really ugly looking meteorites, I guess. These effects not super great, but hey, that's how it goes. And then one of their comrades goes out to try and rescue them, but then I guess they're not completely successful. It seems like someone's being thrown out at the end there. So let me. Yeah, I guess they just couldn't rescue him. That's interesting. I guess without any context, I have no idea what I'm supposed to take away from that. But I assume that's like the setup to the series, or that's like the premise of the series. Ultraman does not appear at all in that opening. Urutaman. Cosmos. Okay. Ooh, we've seen CG earlier in this series that looked better than that. That is that is not good looking. They should have stuck with miniatures. That guy looked like he was transforming a little bit, so I guess Ultraman is a guy he transforms, I assume. CG! The model looked a little better there. Nope, back to looking really bad. Looking really bad again. Yeah, just stick with the miniatures until you get this looking right, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Not much to say about that other than hopefully they either stop using the CG until I don't know, like 2010 when they can get it to look okay, or they go back to miniatures. Because aesthetically, that was rough. He looks way different than all the others in terms of his body. This is the first rock song we've had, for sure, for sure, for sure. That girl looked really cool. These look like Gantz suits, if anyone's seen that old anime Gantz. I never saw the anime, I read the manga. That's actually a cool effect. When they're going up the elevator, how did they get that shot? That looked really cool. Oh, they actually did go back to the miniatures. That's awesome. I didn't think they would do it, but they did. Okay, so he does transform. Alright. It's a guy that's transforming. His body looks way more like... I don't know. Oh, I've seen that beam attack before. Yeah, it's kind of like a Gant suit looking thing. Okay, so I love the new body. It looks better. Before it just looks like a guy wearing like some cloth over his body. It's just some guy in some like Halloween costume suit. This looks cooler. It looks more convincing, more like it's like a super powered individual. That's good. Glad they did that redesign. Um, then something I also wanted to comment on something else. I can't remember. Oh, they went back to the miniatures, which I think is funny because I really did not look like the way they did the CG before, and I guess someone on the production team agreed with me because they were like, "Nope, maybe the technology will be there at some point, or maybe we'll have the capacity to do this well at some point, but that day is not today, ladies and gentlemen." So they went back to those miniatures and they look better. 100% they look better. Um, I guess also the other thing of note is that there are a lot of scenes where he has like the anime like moving background behind him to indicate that there's like motion going on, even though he's like stationary. It also kind of builds anticipation for an attack. Um, I don't know if I've seen that in live action very much. I can remember seeing that a little bit in like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. They use that effect. But I guess I don't. Yeah, it's just interesting to see there. Maybe that's been a staple of the show the entire time. I couldn't really tell you. And then also we're like God knows how many, like 15 or 20 openings in, and I'm just now learning for sure, that Ultraman is a guy who transforms into Ultraman. So I guess that's embarrassing, but yeah, good to know. Back to the CG, it looks better. I would still be inclined to say it looks kind of bad, but it's a huge improvement. We're going back to the silhouettes on top of the colorful backgrounds. Okay. The helmet looked slightly different than the other ones. I can't say exactly why. I'd have to do a side-by-side comparison. I think it's interesting that they keep going back to the silhouette on top of background thing because, like, at this point, I don't know who it's for. It's like been 30 years, I think, in between the first one and the last one we just saw, if not more than that. I don't know what year these are coming out in at this point anymore. But, like, it can't be for nostalgia because the kids don't care and are like I mean, the people that grew up with it are like 40 years old now. Do they care anymore? 40, 50 at this point in like the 90s? Maybe they do. Maybe they're still checking in. I guess their kids are the ones watching it, so maybe they do watch with them. Who's to say? Mabius? Ultraman Mabius. Is it Mobius? It looks like a Mobius strip. But it's not Mobius, it said Mabius. All the protagonists for Ultraman so far that I can remember, they've like been visibly adults. Um, Super Sentai, that girl's cute. I just like glasses. Super Sentai had a lot of teenagers, or people that look like teenagers. Guts. Wait, who's that? Is this the first time I've seen more than one Ultra person in the series? There's like, I guess that was like a king and queen, it seemed like. Ultraman. This does make me realize that Ultraman kind of looks like Kinnikuman. like the Ultimate Muscle characters, you know? I don't know what was an influence on what, but those things, they look kind of similar to one another. I assume Ultraman was influenced Kinnikuman. Kinnikuman came out, I think that manga was from the 70s, so yeah. Also, from like outer space to like protect the world, but via wrestling in the case of Kinnikuman. So yeah, that's an interesting comparison. Then we see there's like I guess a king and a queen, or at least multiple Ultramen per series, possibly. Again, I don't know how that works. And then I don't know what a Mabius is, but they showed a like a Mobius strip, so maybe there's like a weird translation thing going on there. But yeah, still they went back to the miniatures again, staying with that, still look pretty good. Ultraman X. That's a pretty cool transformation sequence. This video is kind of in low quality, but that girl's cute. That girl, girl on the left with the glasses, shorty. Have they had vehicles before like this, like using real vehicles, not miniatures? That CG did not look bad. These effects look pretty good. I like these. This one's really good, actually. I like this one. Look at the design on that Ultraman, too. That's the best looking Ultraman. Dog, that was kind of awesome, actually. First off, I like this mask. Look at that. Not just LEDs in the eyes, but he's got them around his, like, ears or, like, headphone little things. Those are awesome. And he has it on his chest, the X. That opening was just really cool. The effects looked quite good, I have to say. Those action scenes when the, like, camera's rotating around him in the city as he's, like, blasting lasers at various monsters and, like, there's lightning, like, emanating from his body. That was awesome. I mentioned in I think it was the last one how the actors for all of these series they like are they look like actual adults. I think the Super Sentai characters and a little bit later on the Kamen Rider, if I remember correctly, they just looked pretty young to me. Like they were going for like people that look like teenagers. I don't know if they were actual teenagers or not. Certainly, when they adapted like Power Rangers in America, they always get people, or at least initially, they were like teens with attitude, right? They were getting teenagers. So yeah, that was interesting. Someone in the comments for the Super Sentai thing said they were getting people that I guess Japanese moms considered more handsome because they were trying to get moms to watch the show with their kids, so that I don't know they can increase their ratings, and if the parents like the show, maybe they'll buy the kids more toys or something like that, or maybe just get like older girls interested, maybe teenage girls. Teenage girls would make more sense to me because I don't really know why the moms would be interested in like the guys that look like they're teenagers. But I mean, they were like pretty guys. I don't disagree with that or anything. But anyway, this is the first one where the guys, the characters, all of them seem like they're a little bit younger to me. And the other ones, they look like firmly adults, like people in their like mid-20s or if not later. But here they could be like 2019. I would buy that. So anyway, that's just an interesting trend. Maybe we'll see the age regressing a little bit more. But easily so far of the openings I've seen for Ultraman, Ultraman X, best one. That one was fun. Yeah, so let's keep going. Oh, there are so many Ultra people here. Okay. Must be a whole planet of these mofos. That costume definitely a downgrade from X. Not as good. This part could just be a drama, right? This has nothing to do. This doesn't have to have anything to do with fighting or aliens or monsters. This is just from a drama. Okay, now we're back into like Ultraman stuff. It's a fire song though. I like this. Okay, no, the LEDs are back. I like it. I like it again. It's still worse, but it's not bad. I like the layered vocals going on. Okay, we got three on screen. The fight scenes here look a little bit silly when they're doing like actual hand-to-hand combat. When you like focuses on them moving too much, especially in like close range, I think it becomes just like very apparent that it's just some dudes in some suits. I guess that's a silly thing to complain about in this genre. So like, hey, whatever. I'm just saying, in the last opening, when the fight scene was composed of just like him shooting lasers from like a distance at a bunch of different people, that looked actually pretty cool. And so anyway, it's just a note. Also, I don't like this suit as much, but I think it's like legitimately pretty interesting that there was just like 20 seconds of just footage for an opening to a drama. Like didn't have anything to do with what you would associate, what I would associate with this franchise. That's not a complaint. I genuinely find that fun. In fact, I hope they do that more often in the future. It's just interesting. Oh, there are so many this time. Okay. I don't know how I feel about these designs. Oh, there are so many. I know, like in these franchise things, they like to do from like anniversary things. They'll like bring back a bunch of like old characters or at least like costumes or iterations. I don't know. This doesn't look like. I can't tell if these are previous costumes or not, or if these are just different forms or different like Ultramen. For the one in this series, there are definitely several that I don't think I've seen before. Definitely the one on the left there with like the V I haven't seen before. I don't think I've seen the guy on the right either with like the horns coming out of his head. But the guy on the far right and the guy on the far left look familiar. So um, maybe my memory, my short-term memory, is just really bad. But that was a clean opening. Definitely like them more since they've gotten, I think, what I would consider to be more like a traditional kind of action show opening, which you could call what I call like a more traditional like anime opening. But that's just because that's what I associate these types of things with. I'll say this isn't relevant to this one, but a few ones back, I think it was for Ultraman X. Yeah, there are like cards floating around, and like the main character would like grab a card and use that to transform or something. That seems to be a big thing for all of these. I guess in like the more contemporary era, like post 2000, they all seem to have a series that focuses on cards. Because Kamen Rider had at least one, if not multiple, and the same thing with Super Sentai. They had a couple that, or at least one that required like card transformation, which is it's like a novel gimmick for sure, and also transitions pretty easily to being able to create your own card game and sell that to children, or at least collectible cards if there's no playing component, which is always good for profit. DRB. That's kind of fire, actually. The way I guess his name like comes across the screen as he turns, as they do the action pose. Okay, so the last three weren't that cool, but the first time they did that, that was fire. That one was kind of fire. SSP. I'll be back to using the cards again, just as I was talking about it. It's a sick post shot. Look at that. They're all posted up. You're looking down at them, so they look like tall, powerful, and imposing. And then you have like the actual giants behind them. It's pretty clean. What's a geed? Jump up geed? What's geed? They said jump up geed. What is geed? Drinking the ramune. I see you. What did you triple on? There was nothing in front of you. I don't care for that transformation. I'm gonna say that. He puts on some glasses. That was a better looking one. I love the LEDs in his eyes. That looks sick. There's always going to be something very unconvincing about the physics when they're like moving around, like at a regular speed, because they're supposed to be giants, right? So there's the scene where the person is doing the backflip, and it's like the ground would be shaking a lot more if like, I don't know, something that big was moving around. I don't know, it would just look different. It would look way different than it would if like a person was just doing that. It wouldn't scale like that. The physics would change. So anyway, that's just always going to look unconvincing, even if they're just like punching fast. It's hard to get that right. Obviously that's like it's like a nitpick. I'm just saying that it would be very prominent in the show where you're watching people that are supposed to be giants in costumes. I think that would always kind of bother me on some level. But anyway, it's not important. It's not really a complaint. It's just an observation. I've really liked all these last like five or six. Now that we're in, I guess, the post 2000 era, I think they've really gotten the hang of making these in a style that I happen to appreciate. I just like a good generic Japanese style opening. I guess I shouldn't say anime style opening because, as I've seen over the last few weeks, they apply this to a lot of live action shows as well. At least if they're also for children, I suppose. I don't know if they do this for like adult dramas or whatever. Is the Japanese equivalent of Mad Men? Does it have an opening like this? Japanese Mad Men, Japanese Game of Thrones, Japanese Breaking Bad? Does it have an opening with like lasers in the background or whatever? I don't know. I hope so. That would be fun. RB Robu Robu. RB is Robu. What does that mean? This is the most standard pop song we've had so far, I think. These are just teenagers, right? Oh, he looks like he's gonna be an evil businessman. Or is he? I don't know. Hard to tell. Rubu. Are they brothers or are they best friends? I hope they're friends because they have a really fun dynamic from this opening. To me, again, that was just like a generic pop song. I have very basic taste in music. So you just give me a upbeat generic pop song. I really like that. That was fun to me. Those two seem to be like good buddies. They have them like running into the sunset at the end and they like jump over the camera. That's fun. Makes me think they would be fun to watch together. I would say this is the most not that the others have been mature, because they have definitely not been mature. None of these openings have been mature, but this was the most like kiddie for sure. I think like this felt like it was, trying to get like some 7-year olds energized up. And again, it's not really an insult. It worked on me. I was energized up. I like watching that. And also, to me, this seemed to be the youngest looking cast. These guys, to me, seem to be like actual teenagers. If you told me those actors were 16, I would believe you. I don't know what the guy in the white suit had going on, but he like seemed very imposing businessman villainy like scheming and conniving, and then he just goes at the camera, which I mean maybe that was just to indicate that he's actually not a good guy, but when the media is around and he has to put on a good face for the cameras, he knows how to work a crowd. He has his charm and charisma when it's necessary. I don't know. That's just my guess. But yeah, that's fun. It also seems like both of the main characters, I guess one is like R, one's B. I don't know, Rubu. It seems like they both share the spotlight here. It doesn't seem like there is. It's not like they're Naruto and Sasuke, but obviously Naruto is the main character. They seem to be co main characters, which is not a thing you see very often, if that's the case. So.
この地球に宇宙人が密かに暮らしていることはあまり知られていない。これはそんな星で出会った若者たちの奇跡の物語である。
That girl's cute. That guy is definitely very traditionally handsome man there as well. I don't like this rap breakdown. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, and they're bringing back the mask transformation. Don't super care for that either, but it's not bad. I like the buff one on the left. The really buff one, yeah, that one looks straight up like a ultimate muscle character, Kinnikuman character. Oh, Zed. I love the Z in his chest. I just like LEDs. I don't know how many times I have to tell you people, but if there's an LED, I will be impressed. I'm a simple-minded man. This video is in the highest quality, so I couldn't make out, but he used some type of token or card to transform, it looked like. I couldn't make out what that was. It looks like he can transform between forms while he's Ultraman. Okay. Wait, what are these things? What are these monsters on the left and right? Oops, I just messed up. I restarted the video. But yeah, I don't know what was going on there. But that's cool. Yeah, just bear with me while I get back here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. I think we were like towards the end here. Oh, that was maybe the actual last one. Was it? It was. Okay. So that was the last one. I will say going back to this one, I think it was the one right before that last one. I thought I didn't mention it, but the song was also very kitty. The second and the third to last ones I just watched, they had like these kind of kitty vibes to both of the openings. I seem like again, not a complaint. I just forgot to mention that. Anyway, I think there's just one more opening for us to go through here. I think this is the newest one I have pulled up over here. So let's check this out and see what's up. Promising start. Okay. What's that? Frozen? I don't know the characters in Frozen. I can't make the joke. I'm sorry. Insert name of girl from Frozen here. I love the shaky cam on her that like zooms out. That was fun. Look at that guy. Love the editing on this. There's just a lot going on. It's fun. It's a nice like background behind him. Okay, that thing looks so silly though. Like the weird monster. That actually looked pretty good. Okay, let's go. It's going back and forth. Elsa looking ass. Okay, took me a minute to come up with that joke, but yeah, the CG on that robot that actually looked pretty good. I really appreciated that, especially when it was transforming. When it gets like a little bit close, you know, it stops looking quite as good. But yeah, okay, that was definitely interesting. What I'll say is they start off being very minimalistic, these openings. They're very minimalistic, and because they're minimalistic, they're all very stylized. And that gives them, I won't say a maturity, but it prevents them from having a level of, uh, I don't know, kind of like pandering childishness. That sounds very harsh, but I would say these last like five, they definitely had this level of like bright lights, very poppy music, things that will like grab the attention of not necessarily even specifically children, but just knowing that these are like going for children. Uh, Grab the attention of children or anyone that happens to be walking past the television because they're like not very restrained at all. And even the vocalist, I think, has kind of like a very non threatening quality in the last few songs, which I think just appeals to children in a certain way. Again, I prefer these last few openings over the more restrained, stylized, very minimalistic openings we had at the beginning. I think they're way better. It's just interesting to see the differences that appear over time. That's all I'm saying. But again, that last one was very much so in that mold. A lot of flashing lights, a lot of colors, very poppy song, EDM-esque song. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. But yeah, just very different from where we started for sure. So yeah, that was my blind reaction to those things. I'll say on the whole, having seen all the Kamen Rider openings, all the, or at least most of the Super Sentai openings, and all or most of these openings, definitely Super Sentai are the best. I would say even just like the earlier Super Sentai ones are the best. From like 1970 to 1980, they were doing some crazy looking dangerous ass stunts in those Super Sentai openings. Just like I was really surprised by those. And then the later ones are pretty cool too. They get some like nice music. But they're like jumping out of helicopters with no visible parachute, no visible bungee cord. A man jumps off a cliff. You see people diving 30 feet into water. They're like 3 feet away from an explosion that goes off. Like, dog, they just filmed that. Those weren't special effects. Those things were wild. Just no such stunt work to be seen here. There's like a little bit of people driving vehicles, but it's nothing compared to that stuff. And then even in Super Sentai by like 1992, they stopped doing those stunts because it's like I presumably too dangerous. So it's not like that lasted for a long time. But I'm just saying that's like easily the best quality material I've seen out of any of these. And then I would say in like the post 2000 era, from 2000, the last 20 years to like 2022, probably all of these are about equally good to one another across all of the series. They start off with like bad digital effects, then they get pretty okay, and then they like move to like the more competently edited, composed, layered openings that kind of resemble anime openings pretty heavily, using I think more kind of poppy EDM songs with just a bunch of bright flashing lights. That appeals to me. I can see why someone wouldn't like that style so much, but I'm a modern man. What can I say? I appreciate that. And yeah, that's the same trend you see here. Uh, so yeah, I guess that's really about all I have to say about that. Everything else I had to say was said during the video. So thanks for watching with me. Consider liking or subscribing the video, or subscribing if you liked the video. Leave a comment. All that stuff helps the channel. If there's something else you'd like to see me do, then just leave it in the comments. So again, thanks and take care.